Welcome to the IAMCP Profiles and Partnership, the podcast that showcases how Microsoft partners and IAMCP members boost their business by collaborating with other members and parties. I'm your co-host, Anthony Carano, and in each episode, I'll be talking to some of the most innovative and successful partners in the Microsoft ecosystem. The International Association of Microsoft Channel Partners, otherwise known as IAMCP, is a community of Microsoft partners who help each other grow and thrive. Members can find and connect with other partners locally and globally and access exclusive resources and opportunities. Whether you're looking for new customers, new markets, or new solutions, IAMCP can help you achieve your goals. We'll hear their stories, learn from their experiences, and discover the best practices and strategies they use to increase customer loyalty and grow revenues. Whether you're a new partner or an established one, you'll find valuable insights and inspiration in this podcast. We hope you enjoy this podcast and find it useful and inspiring. If you do, please subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to follow us on social media and connect with us on our website, www.profilesinpartnership.com, where you can find more information, resources, and opportunities to partner for success. Thank you for listening, and now let's get started with today's episode. But before we dive into our interview, let me ask you a question. How do you leverage your membership in the IAMCP to find and develop partner relationships that will help you grow your business? Finding the right partner can be challenging, but it can also be rewarding. In fact, according to a recent study by IDC, Microsoft partners who collaborate with other partners generate almost 2.5 times more revenue growth than those who don't. That's a huge difference, and it shows the power of partnering. So how do you leverage the Microsoft Partner Network, IAMCP, and other resources to support your partnerships? And how do you ensure success for your customer? These are some of the questions we'll explore in this podcast with the help of our guest, a recent APAC P2P Award finalist who is also an expert in partnering. She'll share stories, challenges, and successes, and give you practical tips and advice on how to partner for success. Are you ready to join us on this journey? Then stay tuned because we have a great show for you today. Our guest is Natasha Reynolds, the head of partnerships at SOCO, an award-winning IT consultancy and Microsoft partner with expertise in the delivery of digital solutions, business applications, and integration projects. SOCO has achieved amazing results, such as the one in the story you're about to hear in their partnership with an MSSP whose client needed extensive data migration, dynamics, and Power Platform experience in order to scale their business. Let's hear what she has to say. Welcome, Natasha, to the podcast today. Really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you very much, Anthony. It's a pleasure to be here with you and Rudy today.
Excellent, excellent. Well, let's start off. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your role, at the company.
Yes, sure. I'm the head of partnerships at SOCO, and we're one of Australia's leading information technology consultancies. I work really closely with Microsoft and our channel partners to deliver their shared success. So I've worked in the tech industry for the last 20 plus years, and my career journey has evolved through digital governance roles, Microsoft consulting, digital transformation in higher education, and for over a decade, I ran my own web dev company with offices in Australia and the UK. So when my travels brought me back home to Australia in 2017, I started working with SOCO and the company founders as we scaled up.
Excellent, excellent. And also, got to mention, congratulations on being a finalist for the P2P Solution Award. They're in the APAC region, so congratulations on that.
Thank you. What an honour. We were delighted. We thought we had a award contender, definitely, with the project that the partner and ourselves collaborated on, and it was a real pleasure to find out that result.
So on that note, when did you join the IAMCP?
Yes, it was a few years ago, actually. I was doing some Googling, and I'm based in Australia, and I hadn't actually heard of the organisation from any of my peers. But what had happened was, do you recall when Microsoft did the shift from the gold and silver competencies to the new cloud AI
Oh yeah.
model.
Oh yeah.
And yes, how could any of us forget? And part of my responsibility was to support that transition. And we had 11 of those competencies, and then we're transitioning to the new model. And we ended up being one of the first partners that actually did that and successfully got those designations. By the by, we've got 4 of those now, and that's growing. But I needed some help to work out how to do it. And although Microsoft has some really great detailed resources on the specifics, I needed to talk to some people about the
Hmm.
nuances and the particular challenges I was finding with the transition. So I found the organization online, joined up, and then started going to the online events.
Oh, fantastic. So, what are some of SOCO's areas of specialization?
Yes, SOCO's solutions are really varied, but they typically align to categories such as content and collaboration, business applications, data analytics, and finance and operations. So our specialties really are cloud migrations and that AI readiness piece, SharePoint intranets and document management systems, Power Platform workflows and automation, and Dynamics 365 CRM.
Wow, wow. Now I know I mean, so much buzz around AI. Tell us a little bit more about your AI readiness programs and offerings that you guys do.
Yes, sure. We've been doing the migration to cloud work for over a decade now, and we thought it was sort of almost done, and all that work in Australia and New Zealand had been completed. But what we're finding is that with the emergence of AI and the potential there, but the requirements to secure your content in the cloud, make sure there's rigor around what content is available and accessible to your AI or Copilot tools. We're actually doing some work now with our customers to help them get ready for that, to really leverage AI. So it's around that security, data readiness, and governance, as well as the education piece. So we're running workshops and things like that to work out the use cases, the requirements, and how ready they actually are to embrace at an enterprise level the AI opportunity.
All righty. Well, let's get started on the story, this great P2P story that you have, Natasha. So, in the story that we're about to tell in this partner showcase, would you please tell us a little bit about the client? Don't have to give us a name, but share the size, the industry, the technology that was implemented, and what challenges both you and your partner faced in this implementation.
So the client was one of the, or is one of the world's busiest wildlife hospitals. So in Australia, we've got a really unique and diverse wildlife, and many of our species aren't found anywhere else in the world. Animals such as koalas, kangaroos, wombats, and a host of other wildlife species. And unfortunately, they're facing some real challenges with urbanisation, habitat loss, and predation by feral animals. So the client is a hospital that focuses on the treatment, rehabilitation, and release of injured, sick, or orphaned wildlife. And they care for about 14,000 patients annually, which are brought into the hospital by the public and other services and are treated at no charge and then released back into the wild. So, a really uh, interesting project client. It's a not for profit organisation. And what happened for them was that they found that they had their database, their vet database in Microsoft Access. And it wasn't scaling up and meeting the needs of their data storage and management. requirements. So the system was on premises, it was heavily customized, it lacked modern features, and they were having some challenges with that. So the system had become slow, there wasn't a centralized system, there were delays in the reporting, and a lot of manual data entry, which was causing problems of its own as well. So, in relation to the solution, we conducted a discovery and design engagement and did a deep dive into what the current system was, what requirements that they had, what the future might look like. And then we delivered a detailed report and roadmap on what that data migration might look like and the solution delivery and the associated Microsoft licensing and aspects for consideration. So that I think at the time that I put the award entry in, we had completed that engagement and it was highly successful and there was a commitment to move to the next phase of the project. Subsequently, we have delivered the project and it's being used by the staff and terrific reports coming back in on how efficiency has improved.
So, what specific technologies did you use? I'm assuming you used Azure as one of them. So, any others that you used? SQL Azure, or can you
Yes.
tell us?
Yes. Well, additionally, the solution was built on Power Apps,
Okay.
Power Automate, Power Pages, and Power BI for the reporting interface. So a real combination of the Power Platform and some D365 as well in there. So the team that we had work on the project consisted of specialists in a number of those areas, and they all brought their expertise to the project.
So, what was the criteria I know you worked with another partner to get this project? So, what was the criteria that they used in selecting you to come in and do this design document?
Yes, the partner was a long-term partner of ours that we'd had successful collaborations with in the past. They're an MSSP, and they were looking for a solution provider that they could recommend to their long-term client and trust that solution provider to deliver results. So because SOCO has the relevant designations, the Microsoft designations, and we're an app in a day delivery partner, we were really well positioned to have a deep dive into that and guide the customer on the best options and solutions for migrating that database into the cloud.
So, in building this partnership with them, can you tell us a little bit about what your partnership process looks like?
Yes. For us, it can be a little different depending on the partner and the relationship because we have quite a number of areas of expertise and qualification and a really deep pool of experts around Australia. I work hard to make sure each partnership is fit for process. And this relationship with this particular partner, that looked like they brought us in. We worked really closely together to meet with the client to understand what their needs were and then decide who had which swim lanes. So, for example, the MSSP partner, they were looking after the client's IT services and infrastructure, their Microsoft licensing, their support. So all that was handled really effectively from day one. And we came in to deliver the solution and build the solution. And then during the course of the project, what happened was we actually ran into one particular unexpected challenge, which required input from the other partner to support us with. And that was around the test environment and how we handled data in the test environment. So having that really close relationship with each other, collaborating, going to meetings together as required, but understanding each other's swim lanes and when to focus on what each of us were doing, and then when to actually reach across and ask each other for assistance with a particular area was a really key factor in success for this one.
It's excellent partnering techniques, and it's good to see a partner who practices those. Very, very good.
It's a bit of an art and a craft. I think it takes a bit of experience, and
Yes,
but when it works, it really works.
yes, it does.
I'm going to ask you to. I mean, this is really good, Natasha. I appreciate you sharing that. And you've used this phrase a couple of times about staying in the swim lanes. Now, I know you're director of partnerships there, at SOCO. So there's a lot, with that you're managing. What are some at a very high level? So advice you would give for partners who are listening to this call, just tips on when you're engaging right in a collaborative effort to make sure that things are that people are staying in their swim lanes.
I think it's a really important aspect of the partner to partner relationship, because you do have to have trust in each other that you're going to work together for customer success, but not encroach on each other's territories. So I'm a real believer in the concept of co-opetition and collaboration,
Hmm.
rather than thinking of partners in the ecosystem as competitors, because at the end of the day, we're all working towards successful outcomes for our customers.
Hmm.
And if we can identify gaps that we might have and can collaborate with complementary partners, then the project will be more successful at the end of the day. The revenue for the partners will increase, and the client is more likely to come back to us for more work because they'll get a better outcome, rather than if a partner tries to deliver something without the capability or the availability of their resources at a particular time, the outcome might not be as good. So partnership is really important for that success, and a clear understanding of the go, no go areas. So when we set up a partnership right at the beginning, we say, okay, this is our swim lane, this is your swim lane. Where are the definite no go areas? And it might be that a partner will say to us, we don't want you to have any discussions with this customer in relation to licensing, because we own the discussions on licensing with that customer. So that's a very clear and easy thing to understand. We also clearly have a discussion about where are the areas we really want to focus on collaboration and discuss with the customer. So those areas, our teams, not just our delivery teams, but if we have any business development people involved or the wider SOCO team involved, they'll be having conversations with the customer that are aligned with the strategy of the partnership and where we see that vision of success for the customer.
What's some advice then that you would also have is, okay, we establish the swim lanes, the go no goes on the front end, but you get in the course of the project and sometimes people veer into the other person's swim lane. How do you what have you found to be maybe some of the best ways to kind of get them back into their swim lane? And let's just assume that they have a very strong personality. um,
Yeah, no, great question. I think the important thing is that it's picked up quickly. So I think if you've got someone on a project with a strong personality, you or in the partnership relationship with a strong personality, you you will know and be aware that you'll have to have high transparency and communication so that you can pick it up early if it does happen. If it does happen, then obviously it has to be dealt with in an appropriate way that's suitable for the customer and worked through. And of course, we do post-implementation reviews, and a part of that is the partnership review. So how did that go? What did we learn? What went wrong? How can we avoid that in the future? And that is fed back to the teams as well, so that we're all on the same page.
One of the other things that really stood out to me that you were sharing is just the importance about going to meet people and the reason and going, together, in your meetings. And the reason why that stood out to me is in the two previous episodes, the folks were just talking about this same thing, that despite, this digital age where we're doing all these Teams meetings and, remote calls and whatnot, both in our prior, two episodes, they talked about the importance of, face to face, with themselves and with the customer. So I'd like you just maybe to unpack that a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. I think the relationship aspect of a technical delivery project is really key. At SOCO, we have the principle of people first, technology second. And we have the Microsoft specialization in adoption and change management. So every project we do, we really bring that understanding to the way that we work. So actually getting the three parties together very early on to build that relationship, ideally in person. If it can't happen in person, the effort does need to be made to make it happen online as well, with team meetings and things. But we've now got three parties working together that need to achieve something. And it's really important that those phases of storming, norming, and performing are worked through, and the first one's worked through pretty quickly. So an understanding of what people are bringing to the group, what their priorities are, what their objectives are, the way they like to work. All those things are really key to understand it and build that rapport, have some jokes, get to know each other, work together really well. And
Mm-hmm.
with this example, that worked so well that after the discovery phase, there was a little bit of downtime while the funding was sourced for the delivery phase. And discovery and design had gone so well that everyone was keen to keep the group together for the delivery phase. And that can be one of the challenges, actually, when you're delivering projects, and that resource planning and being able to maintain teams. Sometimes you can and sometimes you can't, depending on the other pressures within the business. But fortunately, in this scenario, we were able to keep most of the team together to deliver. And it really paid off, because then you're more efficient working together over the long term.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's excellent. I really appreciate you sharing that perspective, Natasha. Going back to then this story, and this kind of where it brings me back to just as you're sharing, how did you and the MSSP find each other?
Well, it was a few years ago now, and we were first introduced by our distributor, Ingram
Okay.
Micro. So that introduction was made. That they usually have a number of complementary partners that they will introduce to each other when they think there's a requirement to sort of augment different areas. So we met back then, and then went on a journey of what we tend to do first is do an initial project together, where we sort of test the viability and the success of the fit of the
Mm-hmm.
relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened, and then we moved on from there.
And what about, I mean, without maybe going into, detailed specifics, but how did y'all come together for this particular P2P project?
The MSSP identified a need for
Okay.
the project that was required. So a number of different options were explored from the customer side, and the MSSP had a chat with us to see if we would be interested and how we might approach it. And they felt comfortable to then put us forward to their customer and make the introductions, to have initial meetings and just
Mm-hmm.
see if that would be successful. And that went well. And during the journey, I actually introduced that MSSP to the IAMCP. And when we realised
Okay.
what we were working on was award winning, we decided to put in the application.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And hopefully they joined. If not, we got to
Yeah.
reach out to them.
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
Now, I know you shared and kind of what, triggered a lot of, talking about the meetings together and the swim lanes was actually when you initially talked about some of the challenges that the customer had, like with their data and the test environment. Were there any other challenges that you had during the engagement? And if so, in addition to going to meetings together and swim lanes, what, how did you work together to overcome that?
The other challenge that we had was that duration aspect that I'd
Okay.
mentioned. It wasn't anticipated at the beginning of the project. So what happened was both of us as partners had to just be patient, and the customer as well had to, because the customer actually had a wonderful champion who was the product champion and had the vision for what he wanted to see happen as a solution. And he had a very clear understanding of what he was looking for and was really supportive to the project moving forward. So during the downtime, there was work between all three parties to actually ensure that the next phase, the delivery phase of the project, did actually proceed and go ahead to deliver on that vision. So I think high communication and aligned goals is probably the key attributes there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, based on your partner experience, how did this engagement either increase the customer's productivity, grow revenue, increase stakeholder satisfaction? What were some of the outcomes for the
Mm,
customer?
absolutely. There was high satisfaction from all three parties. So the customer and the two partners. So everyone, we all came away keen to work with each other. The the engagement has strengthened the relationship between the MSSP and the customer, and between them and ourselves. And also now we have an ongoing support relationship with the customer as well. So from the business side of things and the partnership side, there were a lot of benefits there for the customer with the solution.
Mm-hmm,
It was designed to improve their efficiency and the quality of the outcomes for their hospital patients. And that was the focus, rather than growing revenue, because they're a not for profit. The focus was the experience and the demonstrable outcomes for the animals and for the
mm-hmm,
vets working with the animals. So we've already seen, it hasn't been launched that long, but we've already seen an immediate uplift in the quality and the reporting metrics and the timing of currency of data,
mm-hmm,
so they can
mm-hmm.
make informed decisions. And we're looking forward to monitoring the success over the next year or two.
Now, this next question, I kind of would like you to answer with you're gonna have it's two hats. So, like the first hat, answer it as in your role as your head of partnerships for SOCO. The second part is maybe if you can take a step back and answer it as how as SOCO as a company is within its culture and approach. So if you can answer it, but both ways, put you on the spot there, and that is, as a result of this engagement, what did y'all learn that's enabled the organization SOCO to improve, like specifically like with partnering in the future?
Okay, well, if I answer that with my hat on as head of partnerships for SOCO, uh, what did I learn? I learned that a long-term relationship with another partner really pays off. So in
Mm-hmm.
the early days of building those partnerships and relationships, there's the overheads of understanding how each other works, what each other wants to gain from the relationship, and getting that going and building the trust. But when you invest the time to do that and make the right strategic alliances, then that will pay off. In with this example, that they approached us to collaborate on this project, which turned out to be really successful. So that was a key learning, which in theory, I knew, but it's really good to see it demonstrated.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything in, like, from the way the rest of the company, whether it's your consultants, the folks that are on, the discovery teams or the delivery teams? Because I'm asking you that, and that I usually don't ask people that, but I'm asking you that because you guys do the post implementation reviews, which I think is fantastic. So maybe you could share something that doesn't give away too much of the secret sauce, for there.
Oh, well, those post implementation reviews have been something that we've done since the company first started. It's a key aspect of our success. And when it comes to partnerships, there's the three different organizations bringing to and experiencing different things on that journey.
Mm-hmm.
So at the every step of the way, we're always checking in to make sure we're on track. We're going to deliver what's expected. It doesn't get too bumpy. If it gets bumpy, it's dealt with in a way that has a good outcome for the customer. And then afterwards, sitting down, having a look at what we learnt, what went really well, and what maybe didn't go so well, and we could improve with the engagement next time. I
Mm-hmm.
think that reflection, sometimes it's really hard to spend the time after a project is done to sit down and reflect on what the journey was like and be honest. We have a principle internally of radical candor. So we want to be honest with ourselves about how it went and how we can improve, rather than everyone patting themselves on the back because it was delivered on time and to budget. There will always be examples where you can improve, and it's not about pointing the finger at
Uh-huh.
anyone. It's about working together for the common good.
That's great. And one of the things, I've got just two more questions, and Natasha, this has been fantastic. Really appreciate you spending time with us today here in this episode. So I got two more questions. One is, you're, as a relatively newer member of IAMCP. What all have you gotten from IAMCP? Just being a member.
Mm. It's been a really great experience for me professionally, because I there are some gaps in the ecosystem that IAMCP supports and fills. So, for example, we were doing some really key work within our organisation in the area of diversity and inclusion, and the resources that are available through IAMCP, such as the Diversity and Inclusion Accelerator website and the Gabriella Schuster Become Allies framework, they became key things that we adopted internally to improve the business and to help us scale up in our journey. And I didn't know where else to go for those that support and those frameworks. And it's proved really beneficial for us to be able to tap into that knowledge and expertise and that peer network to understand those things. So even though the organisation is emerging in Australia, that's growing now, and it's still the resources that are provided online and the recordings that are available afterwards have been really helpful for me in practice.
Excellent. Excellent. And last question, like in closing, what advice would you give to companies regarding partnering? And I know that might seem like silly for me to ask that, considering you've already given like a ton of great advice already. But if there's maybe like, one or two key things to kind of keep in mind, what would they be?
I'd say number one is to remember that a good partnership results in greater outcomes than the sum of its parts. So
Mm,
when you get the mix right, it comes together and there's great outcomes for the customer. So just understand that. Work hard to get the partnership right and to really leverage the capabilities and the skills of all of those people. We talked about knowing your swim lane and just being strategic about your partnerships and identify gaps and strengths and then leverage them. That's really key to successful
hmm
partnerships.
Excellent. Excellent. So how can folks find out more about you?
Well, please go to our website, www.soco.com.au. Please visit that, have a look at what we do, reach out to us. You can reach me individually on LinkedIn. So I am Natasha Reynolds on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect, send me a message. Let's have a chat about what your partnership needs are, or if you have any questions about what we've talked about on the podcast today.
Now, don't hold out on us. I know you talked earlier about having workshops helping companies with their AI readiness. How can folks find out more about those?
Oh, absolutely. So, with that AI readiness piece, we are offering workshops to organisations to talk through use cases, the total cost of ownership, how to secure their content to make sure that they are ready to enterprise wide embrace the AI opportunity. So we'd love to work with people listening to the podcast on that. And they can, I think if I give you a link, Anthony, could you pop it in the show notes for me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It'll be in the show notes below.
All right, thanks.
Well, excellent. Well, Natasha, really appreciate your time. This was fantastic. Thank you for being a guest today.
It was a real pleasure. I really appreciate the invitation and the opportunity to talk through partnerships and the role that IAMCP has played in my journey in that space. Thanks a lot. And thanks to Rudy as well.
Excellent. Have a great one. Well, that was a great episode. I really appreciate Natasha for being on, and I felt like she shared a lot of really great things, about the power of partnership. I know, in particular, the one thing that really stood out to me that I appreciate is she talked a lot about just the importance of staying in your swim lane, and part of that is just the need to, have trust, in each other to work together for customer success and how to best collaborate together within the larger ecosystem. And part of when she unpacked that, and this is the part I appreciate, is when she was sharing about the importance to identify the gaps right on the front end, the customer engagement, but also once you have a partner who you trust, just the importance to establishing the go no go areas for the partnership. I really appreciated how she unpacked that.
You're absolutely right. I really appreciated her insights there. And also, I appreciated her stating the value of being an IMCP member and how that's helping her become a better partner because she can turn to IMCP for resources, programs, and other opportunities to speak with other partners in how to become better and help their grow her business. So I really appreciated that from her.
That's great. That actually reminds me of one more thing. As you're talking about, especially like with what she got out of just with being a member of IMCP, and that's about the value of finding and working with partners who are IMCP members, and how she emphasized in this line, she reiterated over and over, that I thought really hit home, was that good partnerships result in creating better outcomes for customers. I just thought that's a really good reminder, for all of us moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for our podcast today, folks. I want to thank you for joining us on this episode of IMCP Profiles in Partnership, powered by Dunamis Marketing. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and find it useful and inspiring. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to follow us on social media and connect with us on our website, IAMCP.org, where you can find more information, resources, and opportunities to partner for success. One of the best ways to partner for success is to join IAMCP, a community of Microsoft partners who help each other grow and thrive. IAMCP members can find and connect with other partners locally and globally and access exclusive resources and opportunities. Whether you're looking for new customers, new markets, or new solutions, IAMCP can help you achieve your goals. To learn more, visit our website at IAMCP.org.